Clearview, Texas, was a small town and home to the soft-spoken young woman of 24 years old, Jessica Parker. She worked as a waitress at the local diner, spreading light and warmth to all who walked in during the day. Her parents shared with her the little old house they owned, located at the edge of the town. People generally left doors unlocked. They trusted each other, knowing safety. One October evening, Jessica was working her usual shift at the diner, laughing and chatting with the regulars. She had promised to catch up with her friend, Lisa, later in the week. After finishing work, she headed home, where she had dinner with the family before retreating to her room for some reading. The night passed quietly, or at least that is what her family thought. The next morning, Jessica's mother entered to wake her and found her child slumped on her bed, limp, not reacting at all. Her room was in disarray. Pieces of glass were strewn around the floor from a broken window, smashed in from the outside. As terrible as it looked, nothing of value had been removed. Her purse, jewelry, and things were undisturbed. Her family was distraught. They could only sit there and watch while the police entered the room, filling it with flashing lights and subdued tones. The investigation began that minute. Detectives interviewed Jessica's family and friends, and all of them only had good things to say about her. They described Jessica as that person who wouldn't have even one enemy. But as they continued their interviews, weird stories began to surface. Several neighbors recalled seeing a shadowy figure around the neighborhood in recent weeks, usually late at night. Mrs. Benson across the street remembered waking one night to find that someone was standing near the Parker's fence. She thought then it was a mere prank, but now very seriously felt disturbed. The police began to suspect that Jessica's death was indeed the hand of a stalker who had been watching her movements for weeks, waiting for the ideal moment. They questioned a man from this area, Tim Carter, who had once seemed to have a minor interest in Jessica. Initially, he seemed suspicious, but he then proved to have a strong alibi for the night when Jessica died, after which he was ruled out by the police as a suspect. The detectives questioned everyone who might have passed through town without finding any leads. The broken window was the only real clue left after no fingerprints or signs of struggle were found. Clearview, once a peaceful town, was now fearful of fear. People began locking their doors. Children were told to beware of strangers. The residents of Clearview were whispering words about their midnight intruder, who entered the quiet town and slaughtered Jessica's life, leaving only mystery and unease. Years passed, and the case of Jessica began to grow cold. Her family continued putting up flyers every year on the anniversary of her death, clinging to hope that someday someone will come forward and give answers regarding the killing of Jessica Parker. As with many cases, Jessica Parker's was a cold-blooded murder that continues up to this day. The midnight intruder silently disappeared, leaving behind only questions and an empty place in the hearts of all those who knew her.